from Freedom Chiropractic and Holistic Health and our YouTube channel, Health and Horsepower. And this week, I want to come talk to you a little bit more about why bloating is not normal. And a lot of times, when you're dealing with bloating on a daily basis or a weekly basis or a regular basis, we kind of put those symptoms off, we ignore them, or we think, well, this is normal. It was something I ate the other day. Or, well, it just, that didn't agree with my stomach. Or, oh, I had some gluten. That's got to be my problem. The reality is, when we look at our stomach and digestive function, everything is in a row. So you have your stomach, so obviously you chew and eat your food. You have some saliva that is produced to break down some of the starches that what you're eating. That food goes down the esophagus to the stomach. Inside of your stomach, you have a mucin layer. That mucin layer actually is responsible for not only protecting your stomach, but also producing the stomach acid that breaks down the proteins and helps your body to absorb iron and calcium. So if you have an iron deficiency or anemia condition, if you have a calcium deficiency or you're dealing with osteopenia or osteoporosis or bone thinning, there's a chance you could have some issues in your stomach. Another thing people don't realize is that a normal process with aging is that we lose stomach acid as we age. So that means that as you get older, you're going to have less quality stomach acid that is produced, which is going to make it harder for you to digest food. So as we age, it is sometimes better to do smaller meals or kind of grazing throughout the day so that your stomach acid that's being produced can digest things fully before you add another meal rather than having one large or two large meals throughout a day. The other thing we have to think about is if we have potentially food sensitivities or food allergies going on, a lot of people think immediately like food allergies means I'm having like my tongue is swollen, my throat is closing up. There are sensitivities or mild reactions where when you eat that food, you have heartburn. When you eat that food, you have kind of like almost like a bubbling or a rumbling in your stomach. It just doesn't quite sit right there. We can also have certain foods that irritate the inner lining or that mucin layer in the stomach and cause stomach pain. Usually within the first, I would say, half an hour to 45 minutes of eating, you're going to have symptoms. That means usually that those symptoms are coming in the stomach. Your stomach is reacting to whatever food or the protein or whatever you've eaten. If you're noticing that almost immediately after eating, that's probably a stomach issue going on. And that could be food sensitivities. That could be issues with potentially like stomach acid issues or that mucin layer is not thick enough. It could be you're eating too much food and your body's not able to produce enough stomach acid. Usually that condition is called hypochlorhydria. And like I said, as you age, that is normal to have that happen. Another possibility too is if we are having issues with digestion, what can happen is after food passes out of your stomach, it can go to your small intestine. Your small intestine should be sterile. There really shouldn't be bacteria there. Our small intestine basically goes from the acidic environment in our stomach to the alkaline environment in our small intestine, but there is a transition area there that if we have hernias in our stomach, if we have muscle tension in our diaphragm, if we have issues in our mid back, it can cause tension and nerve pressure that affects that area where things don't move smoothly from your stomach down to your small intestine. So we can have issues in that kind of junction area where food's not moving smoothly, it's not getting passed through. We can have almost like a pain after eating, or even sometimes even like gallbladder issues or liver issues can happen in that kind of same area too. And then once the food gets down into your small intestine, your body is going to absorb nutrition. So in the small intestine, as things pass through, and again, that process through the intestine takes a couple days normally, unless we have inflammation or sometimes some transit issues, shall we say. But what can happen is if we have issues with the small intestine, you may have where your body is not absorbing the proper amount of oh, sorry, I've got a kitty now. Proper amount of nutrition in your intestines is not being absorbed. We can have, if the food wasn't digested properly in the stomach, the small intestine can actually start to have issues. PETA, sorry. He's being a little ridiculous today. But if you're having issues in the small intestine, what we can see is sometimes like bloating and gas can be a problem in that area. And we can also see issues where potentially you have like an irritation of the intestinal lining where your food moves through really quickly. So after you eat, it's like really quick, you're in the bathroom because we've had irritation either in the stomach or the small intestine as that food is moving through your digestive tract. If you're having bloating, if you're having cramping, if you're seeing swelling underneath the stomach or kind of right at the top of the stomach area and intestines, we can also see issues again with bacteria can also be in that area causing bloating and gas production where it shouldn't be. As the food passes through your small intestine, then it goes into the large intestine. And the large intestine is typically where your body is trying to conserve things like salts. We're kind of forming things into more of a shape to exit. And what can happen is we actually have our good probiotic bacteria in our large intestine actually continue breaking down the food and fermenting the food to produce nutrition. So you have actually vitamins and minerals that are being produced by those good bacteria. You have natural antibiotics that are being produced by those bacteria. You have other natural immune functions that are happening, detoxification, digestion. If we have any parasites, a lot of times what will happen is we will see your body immune system actually resides a lot of that is in the digestive system. So as we see foreign things in the food that we're eating, your body can actually form antibodies and help to recognize antigens to help your immune system function better. So you can have in that large intestine area bacteria imbalance where the numbers of bacteria are off. We can have, again, irritation to the lining of that. We can have, if you're not voiding properly and things are backing up, or we've had a lot of constipation issues, sometimes the actual lumen or the hole, the space where is through that digestive tube, gets larger, and we can get things stuck or impacted where we have basically areas where they're larger than they should be. The muscles in your intestine actually are supposed to move and kind of push food through that digestive tube. But what can happen is if we have enlargement areas or muscles or ligaments that are stretched out, we may see where those muscles aren't working to push things through and things can get stuck or stopped or not move through. So a lot of times when it comes down to it, we may need to look at bacteria balance. We may need to look at potentially your history if you've had constipation or diarrhea, if you've had some transit issues where things took longer to digest or faster to digest. We may need to look to see if there's any certain foods that irritate things for you. In some cases, I've also had some patients that their nervous system, and namely the nerves of your mid to low back, so kind of right between your shoulder blades down to the lower back belt line area, that area has nerves that go to your stomach, to your liver, to your gallbladder, to your small intestine, to your large intestine, to basically that whole celiac nerve trunk. And what happens is if we have nerve pressure in the spine, those nerves are irritated, they're not going to be sending out signals properly. So sometimes we actually have a nerve issue where the nerve is not telling the organ how to work properly, then the organ doesn't work properly, and we get digestive issues. Not specifically a digestive problem, but potentially a nerve issue. So when I have patients that are having digestive issues, we kind of run through, okay, are we having an issue in the stomach? Are we having an issue in the small intestine? Is there potential large intestine issue? Do we have any pain? Do we have any stiffness? Do we have any muscle tension in the spine that could indicate we may have some nerve pressure issues? Because those nerves in your spine, not only can they cause pain and stiffness and arthritis, they can also cause muscle spasms. They can cause organ systems not to work properly. So if we have pain, tingling, numbness, if we have muscle tension or spasms or weakness in an area, if we have organ system issues, there may be a nerve component that's being missed because not all providers look at nerve function as a possibility for digestive issues. So in many cases, I find when we sit down in my office, we go through everything to try to figure out what are some factors or are there multiple factors that may be true for you specifically with your digestive issue. And then we focus on finding the source or sources of that problem and starting to work our way down to assist your body with healing and recovering from those issues. So if you or someone you know is having digestive issues and you're not getting answers, or it seems like you're getting the runaround, you've got tests done and nobody's really telling you what's going on and you're not really understanding how to fix the issue, you're miserable, please give my office a call. The sooner we are able to sit down and figure out what the problem is and where it starts from, the faster we can get your results and actually get you feeling better and get your body healing itself rather than relying on medications and surgeries with no real answers or direction. So that's what I do in my office. You can go on our website, freedompeoria.org, to request an appointment, or you can call us at 309-689-6200. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.